things like money, careers, social skills, very different for a child who is 7 years old and has autism and from a 22-year-old person who has autism. The social skills, the training, the required skills that are needed are very, very different between those age groups. So we'll be covering that as well. Another topic that I think is fairly important is sexuality and relationships. I mean, if you thought puberty was difficult for you, and it really is for all of us, can you imagine how hard it is for someone who doesn't have the communication skills that we do or the social skills that we do? It makes it that much more difficult to transition into adulthood and understand what's happening and how to have relationships, healthy relationships, even with those challenges in social skills. So that's a good and an important topic to cover as well. Housing and living options. Luckily, there are many options, although we do have a crisis with the number of housing options available for people on the spectrum, but there are a lot of options. Someone on the autism spectrum does not have to live with their parents for the rest of their life. We have group home options, school options, and varying relaying degrees of assistance that can be provided for someone on the autism spectrum as well. So we'll be looking at all kinds of options for that. And I also have a picture here of a mother and child who's sort of playing together and interacting together. And this, for me, speaks to all of the therapies and treatments that are available in the autism community. And what I'll be covering in this show are both traditional therapies and non-traditional. So what I mean by that is traditional therapies might be very clinical. It might be things like specific medications that have been proven to be very helpful for people on the autism spectrum, but also some things that are non-traditional, something like sound healing. That's been also proven to be very effective. Just putting a child in a room with a very specific soothing type of sound or music has been really transformational for some children on the spectrum. So just something to think about, and we'll be covering in some upcoming shows. Another one is educational resources, things like what schools are available, residential versus non-residential, homeschooling, and coaches as well, different options for that and resources. And also one of my favorite topics, because I'm very spiritual and because I'm an intuitive medium, is the whole topic of spirituality and autism. It is, for me, it's a huge topic. It goes way beyond what we consider religion or perception of what God is or what energy is or why we're here, why we're all here on the planet. It's really a fascinating topic for me. So we'll be looking at different options with that as well for spirituality. And of course, throughout this whole series, I will be interviewing not only people in the autism community and families and parents and siblings of people on the spectrum, but I'll be interviewing people on the spectrum as well. So you will be able to hear directly from someone with autism what it's like to have autism, what they have to deal with, what kind of challenges that they have to face every day, day in and day out. And finally, I think what I'd like to leave you with at the end of this show is the most important quotation that I personally have ever heard that I use and I remind myself of constantly. And it's a quotation by a man named William Stillman, who is on the autism spectrum. He has Asperger's syndrome, and he has written a multitude of books about it and about his life experience. And what he says, number one, the most important thing to do is always presume intellect. Always, 100% of the time. So don't judge someone just because it doesn't appear that this person is listening to you or paying attention to you or misbehaving in a certain way. Don't assume that that person doesn't have intellect. Treat that person as you would like to be treated as well. So thank you so much for joining me here on All About Autism. I look forward to having you join me again on future shows. And I would really love to get your feedback and your suggestions. If you have any topics that you would like me to cover on the show, or if you have suggestions for specific guests that you think should be interviewed here on the show, please email me through my website. My website is leamhill.com. And I also have an image, you'll recognize my image on the home page of my website, so you know that it's mine. And you can just contact me through that website. leamhill.com, or my email, which is just leah@leamhill.com. And I'd love to get your feedback and hear from you and your thoughts. Thank you so much.